I have terrible memory. Oh, I'm so bad at math. Man, I cannot manage my money. Oh, I'm terrible in relationships. I'll probably meet someone just like the one I just broke up with. So many times when we talk to ourselves, we say the wrong thing. I just want to challenge you today, if you're at all conscious or curious, there's some very, very positive things that you can say to yourself. I'm going to give you the first example, and it's a simple, simple affirmation, and it goes like this. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. You will not believe the impact this affirmation will have on your health, your mental state, your relationships, your financial status. I mean it. In every area of your life, you will improve if you simply say that phrase to yourself 5 to 6 times a day, especially the first thing in the morning and the last thing before night. I'm going to give you a few examples of some affirmations. I was in sales for many years, and one of my favorite affirmations is a little bit long. You might be able to rewind this and play it again. I'm going to say it twice. I will enter this interview without giving mental recognition to the possibility of defeat. I will make a sale. I will make a friend. I will be able to see through their eyes the end result, benefit for having my product. What's behind the door I cannot tell, but this I know and know it well. If I have everything to gain and nothing to lose by trying, I will by all means try. I will do it now. Guys, when you start using powerful, positive self-talk, you will make differences in your lives and the lives of others. And all you need to do is make a decision to put those positive thoughts into your mind, because your mind is a slave, and all it's going to do is exactly what you tell it to do. Sounds funny, sounds odd, sounds impossible, yet it's true. I will use controlled attention, concentrated energy, and sustained effort. Man, oh man, I'll tell you what, I learned that affirmation when I was in my 20s, and I use it in physical work, I use it in mental work, I use it in many areas of your life. Controlled attention, concentrated energy, and sustained effort. 3 very simple things that are very impactful and positive and powerful. Geez, there's been so many affirmations, but I just like I say, I encourage you to get a piece of paper, sit down, write down some of these affirmations. I want to give you a little phrase that may blow your mind. Whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon must inevitably come to pass. Man, oh man, whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon must inevitably come to pass. You want a genie in a magic bottle? That's as close as you're going to get, guys. If you believe it, if you act on it, if you're enthusiastic, if you desire it, it's inevitably must come to pass. Inevitably must come to pass. Self-talk is not just a tool, it's a lifesaver. Self-talk is a powerful way for you to make changes in your attitude, your life, the outcomes of situations, and they work. They work. I guarantee you, every time you say, I got a bad memory, your mind's sitting there saying, okay, we got to make sure we can fulfill that. He's got a bad memory. She's got a bad memory. Your mind will believe it. Guys, so much of what we do is a choice. So much of what happens to us is in our own hands. It's in our own control, and all we got to do is just make the decision that that's what we want. There's a wonderful book I read. It was called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, and it was really a fantastic book. And the book talks about a talisman, or you could think of a coin. And on the coin is 2 sides, and one side is a positive mental attitude, PMA, and the other side is an NMA, negative mental attitude. You're in charge of the coin. You flip the coin. You really can dictate if it comes down positive or negative. You are in control. You're in control of every word you say, of every thought you have, of every action you take, It's all up to you, and all you got to do is say, I will do it. But instead, so many of us say, I won't do it. I'm too shy. I'm too quiet. I'm afraid. What if they laugh at me? What if they don't like me? Who gives a crap? Nobody's here to live your life. You don't owe an explanation to anybody, guys. You don't have to ask for a permission or apology. You just need to live this life and make it yours. You know, when I came to this station, I was coming to get my computer fixed. I didn't even know who Henry Archuleta was. I came across a couple of posts of him and came and met this incredible individual who was a genius in so many areas. And you know, he asked me if he could interview me about my book, The Caregiver's Handbook, and I came on and was interviewed, and I just loved Henry's attitude about life. I loved his enthusiasm. I loved how he just looked positively at everything. And you know, I say this almost every week if I can remember, but I just want to thank you, Henry, for giving me this opportunity and for helping me to open the eyes of many people. You know, we're in a time right now where there's a great awakening taking place worldwide. There's people like my last guest, Linda Montano, 2 weeks ago, said that we're in the age of a divine feminine. And I don't know what that means to you, but to me it means that we are in for some time of calm, some time of gentleness, a time of nurturing, a time of hopefully peace. The male ego, in my opinion, has really done a lot of damage to this earth. The male ego has caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. And the male ego is the guy that's going to call me up and cuss me out because I talked about his fragile male ego. But you know what? The male ego has to go. The male ego is destructive, it's self-serving, it's hateful, it's racial, it's prejudice, it's exclusive. And I think it needs to go. You know, on many past shows, I've talked about past lives and how anyone who knows me knows that I firmly believe in reincarnation. I believe that I have lived before. And I believe that I have lived as a woman because for some reason I have a compassionate heart. I have an understanding of women that a lot of guys don't. And, you know, I remember when I was married to my wife Rita, and my brother-in-laws used to, they used to say I would make a good wife because I cooked and cleaned. But if they saw me now, they'd really say I made a good wife because I really cook and clean now. But I don't give a shit. I don't need your opinion or or your permission. I don't need acceptance from anyone, and you don't either. What you got to do is you need to go look in that mirror. Look in your eyes. Look deep in your eyes. Look beyond that. Look deep into what's behind those eyes because that's where you are. Look at yourself and say these words. I have what it takes. I'm all right. I'm a good guy. Things are going good. I'm a good gal. I'm a good woman. I'm a great catch. Man, the more you talk to yourself like that, the more that little mind inside you is going to listen to it. You know, they've talked for many years about the conscious and the subconscious mind. And if you were to think of the conscious mind, think of it as a golf ball. And if you were to think of your subconscious mind, think of it as a basketball. And there's much more volume, there's much more mass, there's much more ability, there's much more gifting, there's much more insightfulness, there's much more of everything in that subconscious mind. And that's the mind that I encourage you to tap into, to find, to look into. Guys, before the show, I talked to Ricardo, and he's got a late start, and so he's on his way into the show. And I enjoyed his books so much that I have to come read you a couple of his poems. There were so many. I was dog-earing the pages so that I could remember to come back on them. And I mean, this book, The Samurai Poet, has so many awesome poems in it. He said, he announced that they were pretty salty, and there were some that were sexual, and some were political, and there were some that were, emotional, and, he was married and his wife died, and so he knows that, he understands that pain. The poem that I wanted to read for sure today, it was called Will You Arrive? And this was in Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic in 1994. And this was his wife Edith's favorite poem. Will you arrive? Maybe you will arrive in my life like a wedding day song. With the future in a smile and the past in a pocket with holes. Maybe you will arrive in my life with a calculator in your hand, determining with precise look the undefined wealth of my soul. Maybe you will arrive in my life alone among the lonely, egg opened by a history of hawks and snakes. Maybe you will arrive in my life with fear in your broken nest, closing your wings to the wind of my pressing love. How will you arrive? Maybe I'll never know. Only you keep the answer in the death of this night. And being a widower, my heart goes out to you, Ricardo, and I totally understand what you were saying in that poem. I love how you take your Spanish and you accentuate the English and make it just a little bit more, and you put words in there that, wow, make me look at a situation in a different light than I did before. There's a poem here called Esperanza, Hope. Today with your hands linked we'll sink our knees into the ground and sprout roots. Then our leaves will greet the blue sky and the flowers of your mouth will receive my kiss. Today the dust and the ash have been vanquished and the earth's green fire shines steadily in your eyes. I just love how he's just made so much out of words. I don't know how many of you write poetry, but I gotta just tell you that writing poetry can be a really, really a wonderful outlet. That's a great release. It's a great stress reliever. It's a great I don't know. I can't explain it. Writing poetry brings peace to your mind, peace to your heart. I was talking to Henry before the show, and he was talking about having done something and accomplished something and how good it made him feel. And the same thing is with poetry or with writing a book or writing just a short page or a chapter. You feel so good. And making yourself feel good is a pretty good thing. It's a pretty good way to feel. One of the things that Ricardo talked about in his book was the sky dragon, and he's written several poems about the sky dragon. The image of the sky dragon showed up to me at the first time that I used the I Ching Book of Changes. Since then, it has become ammunition for my poetic artillery. Sky dragon. Sky dragon come, swallow my soul, sprout its seeds in the fears of our enemies. Sky dragon fly, let your wings make love to the air. Clip the wings of our enemies. Sky dragon think of cautious feints of somersaults. Madden our enemies. Sky dragon, I love you. Let's dance a merengue on the remains of our enemies. I think that is the coolest thing. Here's another Sky Dragon one I wanted to read today for sure. The Sky Dragon's diet. Sky Dragon, what did you have for breakfast? I ate a couple pimps. They peed like babies, chewed their fat, tough meat, and played pool with their bones. Sky Dragon, did you have a snack before lunch? Sure, I found a couple of crack dealers hustling their fare to a 12-year-old. The pushers were so tastily good, I even swallowed their Nikes. Sky Dragon, did you enjoy your lunch? Man, all the way! Got me a couple of executives they used to lay off people to improve the bottom line. Now they reside at the bottom of my belly. Sky Dragon, did you drink tea after your siesta? Hell no! Bloody Marys for me. Checked on a couple gold-laden Cadillac chauffeured pastors. Their cries of mercy were classical music to my pointed ears. Sky Dragon, after all this meat, do you eat vegetables? No, but I do go after a light dessert such as a well-dressed, high-powered female senator who cheats on her husband with her pretty brunette secretary. So there you have it, folks, an exclusive with the newest vigilante on the streets of Gomorrah City. Policemen are puzzled, but elated. Rumor has it that they placed bets on the next victim's identity. Ricardo just has a way, and the way he sees America and the way he sees life is just such an interesting and refreshing perspective. I just really like it. Guys, if you're just joining us, you're watching the Weekend Boost on KUHS The Stream on Melody Drive. I am your host and author of The Caregiver's Handbook, a self-help love story. And our show's sponsor is David G. Ronquillo, who wrote the book Make It Go Away as part of a trilogy. Please find this book. It is available through David. You can call the station, 303-255-0567, or you can just reach out to us through email, and we will make sure and get a copy of this, a signed copy, into your hands. Also available as an ebook. So please read this interesting read, very good read, very good, something that is entertaining and is a thriller. So, interesting read. So we've been talking about our guest who was on his way, Ricardo Bogart Alvarez, who wrote the book The Samurai Poet. Ricardo is an engineer, PhD, and you know, it's just a great example of how so many people come to this country and are so qualified and so capable and so skilled and gifted, and they can't use any of their abilities or gifts because it's not recognized in this country. So there's some real challenges, real challenges. Another poem I bent the page on, I like this one. The Rider. I wish I was a Mongol rider with pony between my legs. Under her hoofs the steppe stretches over to the end of the sky. My only loyalties, my chief and my clan, my main loves, my bow and my pony. I honor my enemy by piercing his heart with my lovingly crafted arrow. I only ask the God above to let me pillage this clan till the end of my days. Let the cold and heat shape my body and forge my soul. If I die in battle, burn my body that night, so that my soul flies free to raid the castles of the clouds. So Ricardo has a bit of a he's a feisty guy. He's a fighter. He's not a guy that lays down and accepts what is. He's a guy who wants change, and like me, he's an activist. And guys, I'm sorry, my heart is so heavy. I just can't stop thinking about what happened in Uvalde, Texas. I just, when is it going to end? When are we going to have some responsible gun control? When are we going to stop allowing the manufacture of 30-round magazines? What hunter is such a horrible shot that he needs 30 rounds of ammunition to take down his game? Guys, they're defending a lost cause. They're defending destructiveness. They're defending the murder, slaughter of children. A story emerged yesterday of a young girl who was in the room amongst those who had been murdered, and she heard the gunman leave. But fearing he might come back, this girl smeared the blood of one of her dead friends on her own body, on her face, so she would appear to be dead. That's not a child's responsibility, my friends. That's not what a child should have to live through. A 3,200 feet per second round destroyed the faces of these children so badly that they had to be recognized only by DNA. Why do we need that, America? Justify this. Call it in. I'll take it. I want to hear your opinion. How is this justified? How is this acceptable? And what are we going to do about it? There's got to be a change in this country, and it has to be now. I'm sick of seeing children die. I'm sick of seeing people in grocery stores, nightclubs, churches, schools murdered because some jerk can't control his emotions and because someone gave him the ability to access high-capacity magazines and assault rifles. I had a discussion with someone this week who talked about, define assault rifle. You know what I say? Fuck your definition. I don't care about your definition of assault rifles. What I see is 18 dead kids. Assault rifle? I don't care if it's a 22. If they're killing kids, it needs to stop. You're more concerned about the definition of an assault rifle than you are about the life of a child? Maybe we don't have gun laws because they haven't started affecting the politicians. The politicians don't give a crap about your children. Their kids are in private schools. Their kids are safe. We need change. We need immediate change. We need effective change. We need sensible gun laws. I know, I'm just one of millions who are shouting out, but you know what? I don't care. I'm still shouting out. I want change. I got grandkids who I love, and I don't want them to be murdered. I like to go grocery shopping, and I don't want to have to carry a gun with me. If I want to go to church or if I want to go to anywhere, I don't want to have to worry about my life being taken from me, or my children's lives being taken from them, or my grandchildren's, or my neighbors, or your kids. We got to stand up, and we need to be as one voice. And we need to tell these legislators it's time for a change. Now we got started talking about legislators. Now I'm really on a roll. I would like your feedback. I'd like your opinion on this. Let's talk about a couple of things. How about age limits for elected officials? I think 70 years old is quite old. 80 is way, way too old. Why are we having 70 and older legislators making laws in this country who are completely out of touch with the young kids, how are out of touch with poverty, who have been wealthy for so many terms that they don't even understand what you and me go through? These legislators need to be brought to reality. How? I don't know. Maybe if we made their wage the same as ours. Maybe if we sent their kids to public schools. I don't know. Guys, I don't have all the answers, but I know this. Change is going to come. Change is needed. There's too many children entombed in graves all across this country who don't have a voice. Who don't have a voice. So let's talk about term limits. You know, the Supreme Court justice position is a lifetime position that has no ethics, no code of ethics, no standard of behavior, and they are accountable to no one. What country do we live in? We have people who have been 8, 10, and more term senators. We need term limits on these people. What about Citizens United? What about the ability of corporations to give unlimited amount of funds to their political puppets? You know, when they say the corporations got politicians in their pockets, they really do, folks. And then I come to find out that Mitt Romney took $13 million from the NRA. The Mormon Romney. What's up with that, Mitt Romney? Do you support the killing of babies? Stop taking that money. You know, these super PACs and all the money that's going into politicians, it's only taking power away from you and me, guys. It's taking your vote. It's taking my vote. It's taking all of our votes, and it's putting it in the hands of a corporation who isn't even, who is calling themselves a person. And they have the ability to give unlimited amounts of money to their favorite candidate. Woo. I don't know what you feel about that, but man, that burns my butt. That burns me up. Citizens United. There ain't no Citizens United in that organization except the rich. Whew. Children shouldn't have to smear blood on their face so that someone doesn't murder them. Someone shouldn't go home and die because their wife was murdered. When is this going to end? The AR-15 is an assault rifle. You define it however you want. It's a murdering weapon. Target practice. It was made for murder. It was made for it was a weapon of war. It's not a domestic weapon. It's not a hunting weapon. It's not a target round weapon. It's a murdering weapon. 30-round magazines. Why? Who was such a horrible shot that you hunt with a 30-round magazine? Oh my gosh. I don't know, guys. I'm a mess. I know. But I don't care. I'm pissed. I'm tired. I'm over it. I want change. There's a big phrase that's coming out in this NRA convention, and they're talking about the only thing to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Well, guess what? The police officers at Robb Elementary School stayed outside for over 40 minutes. There was no good guy with a gun. Now we hear that the cops went in and protected their own children. They got their children out of the school while they were pushing back the parents who were trying to save their own children. What hypocrisy! What hypocrisy! And who do they send in to kill this guy? The bloodthirsty Border Patrol agents. I feel like these people have always had a desire to go and harm someone. That's why they're Border Patrol. They just got an itchy finger. They love to kill someone. They sent in the murderers to go do the job. I'm sorry. Yeah, I have no respect for ICE. I have no respect for ICE. I have no respect for ICE. I think they're a subversive, racist organization. I think that they have no one's best interest at heart but their own and the white supremacist cause. Yeah. Facebook, you can ban me. I don't care. I'm saying what I got to say. We got a problem in this country. We got a class problem in this country. When it's impossible for poor people to get education, it's exclusive to the rich, and all that do is separate that wage gap. We don't pay a living wage in this country. We don't have affordable housing in this country. But it's illegal to be homeless. What the hell is wrong with you? What's wrong with this picture? It's illegal to be homeless. And you get homeless, you can't even get a job because you got no address. Man, we got to do something about this. We got to do something. I don't know what the answer is. I don't want to run for politics. I got no desire to be in that slimy pig slop. I don't want to be in that corrupt hellhole. Politics is not diplomatic. Politics is a filthy, nasty, nasty profession. I'm sorry. Whew. Okay. Whew. I swore I wouldn't get off on this, but there I went. I know that there are a lot of you people out there sitting there saying, man, he has a lot of good things here. He has some valid points. And I know there are others who are saying, I don't agree with the thing you say. I respect that. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. Send your notes in, man. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid at all. I'm not afraid to face you. I'm not afraid to debate you. I'm not afraid to speak with you on any topic. I'm here. And there's an empty seat right next to me. Come on in. What else do I got to bitch about today? Indigenous people. I guess I'm on a roll, so I might as well keep on going. Let's talk about the oppressed indigenous peoples across the world. You know, a lot of people think that just the Native Americans and the African Americans were the only indigenous people who were robbed of their birthright. But then I started looking around the world and I realized, the same thing happened in Puerto Rico. It happened in the Philippine Islands, in the Dominican Republic. It's happened in Hawaii. It's happened all over the world. The colonization and the minimalization of people who are indigenous, who are brown, who are yellow, who are not violent, who are not trying to dominate others. They're being wiped out. People in Hawaii cannot even afford to live in the country they were born in the state they were born in. Furthermore, Hawaii shouldn't even be an American state. We'll leave that at that. Oh boy. So many things to talk about. So little time. Guys, if you're just joining us, you're watching KUHS, the stream on Melody Drive. This is the Weekend Boost. I call it Boost Plus. But you're watching the Weekend Boost, and I'm your host, Paul Lane. Today I'm just talking about all kinds of random things, and I like it. I've talked about a lot of different things today, so I might as well keep going. I want to talk about cancer. I want to talk about cancer research. I want to talk about the American Medical Association and how they demand that if you sell a product that helps people feel better, look better, or have a better sense of well-being, you must also include this product does not treat, cure, or diagnose, because the American Medical Association has deemed it illegal. And anything that is not the petroleum-based addictive drugs made by the big pharmacy is alternative medicine, even if it works better than the chemicals. You're not allowed to tell people that. What a shame. So it seems to me that the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, is in bed with the American Medical Association. It seems like they're one and the same. How is that? That I cannot give you a product that helps cure your cancer. Or I can't tell you it's going to cure your cancer. But they can surely get their medicine and their drugs and their chemicals and their petroleum-based garbage and shove it down your throat. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I gotta take a deep breath here. Are you mad? Are you mad? I hope you are. I hope you're mad. I hope that you are tired of seeing children killed. I hope you're tired of old men sitting on the bench. I hope you're tired of the few making decisions for the many. And if Republican lawmakers have their way, they're going to make it so they can overturn an election, whether they lost or won. They can overturn, if they don't like the outcome, they can change it. Man, that's not a democracy. This democracy is in serious trouble with the likes of Ted Cruz, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, the whole lot of them. I won't even say the names of those two women. I won't even give them that much credit. They don't deserve it. Anyone who knows me knows that I always credit women because they deserve it, but not those two. Not the one from Colorado and not the one from South Carolina, wherever she's from. You have a lot of power when you become a politician. Madison Cawthorn told us about the orgies and cocaine that the Republicans have in their parties. You think he was lying? I don't. I wouldn't speculate on who might have been having the orgy, but I'm not surprised at all. There's a lot about our politicians that we don't know. There's a lot about our politicians that we don't want to know, and yet here we are. Politicians are just human beings. They are not They shouldn't be elevated to a level of this height where we have them. Politicians should be held accountable just like citizens. Aren't they citizens? Isn't this a government of the people, for the people, by the people? Why aren't citizens who are politicians bound by the same laws as the rest of us? Why is that? How long is this country going to allow unfettered, unlimited terms, unlimited time in office, lifetime appointments of Supreme Court judges who were put there by Donald Trump, who were put there by the Federalist Society, who don't even have as much qualification as the most recent appointee. People who have been under investigation. You know, Clarence Thomas has been on that seat for many, many years, but yet they never answered the questions about his sexual harassment of Anita Hill. Kavanaugh, I don't even remember his first name, Brian Kavanaugh. They never addressed his sexual exploits. There was an FBI investigation, except the former twice impeached disgraced president did not allow anyone to bring in evidence. You can do an investigation, but you can't allow evidence. And then he was impeached. And the powers that be protected him again. They enabled him again. And they gave him more ammunition to harm America. And there he is, speaking at the NRA convention. Guys, I said it before and I'll say it again. It's time for a change in America. It's time for these children to have some voice. You know, the Christian right cries about pro-life, pro-life, pro-life. Well, those kids were alive. Those kids were alive. How come you didn't care about their life? I want justice. I want to feel safe in America. You need to want to feel safe in America, because otherwise you will never be safe here. There will always be a bad guy with a gun. I don't want to go around with a gun in my car. I don't want to have a gun in my waist belt. I don't need that. I don't want that. I'd rather die. We need to put change in this country. We need to either put teeth in the laws or make laws that don't allow 18-year-old boys to go out and get assault weapons. We need mental health in this country. And the governor of Texas just took $22 million worth of funds for mental health, much like Ronald Reagan did. Oh, let's talk about Ronald Reagan. A lot of Ronald Reagan lovers out there. Well, you may not know everything there is to know about the man, but I will tell you this. The war on drugs was not a war on drugs at all. Because while he implemented the war on drugs and his Just Say No campaign, he was bringing cocaine into New York, into California, into Houston, in Dallas, and Denver. And he was allowing the CIA to bring cocaine in and feed it to our kids, only to arrest him and put him in his friends' private prisons that still exist today. And trickle-down economics. Trickle down my ass. There ain't no trickle-down economics. You just separated the wage gap. You separated the classes. You eliminated the middle class, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse. Under George H.W. Bush, under George W. Bush, each one of them decreased taxes for the rich. And who paid the price? You did, and I did. Guys, we are down to the last 10 minutes, but my guest just arrived. And with that, I am going to calm down. I'm going to let my guest come in here. Ricardo Borland Alvarez. Good morning.
I should get that on my name.
Come on over here and give it a shot.
Forgiveness.
Hey, I was able to read a few of your poems.
Good.
I read through the whole book, every single poem. And I got to tell you, these poems were good. So this is my guest, engineer, a PhD. This guy, I mean, you read his poetry, man, and this is some cool stuff. I mean it. Ricardo, I was fortunate to have met you here a couple of months, about 6 months ago, and then I met you again, a few weeks ago, and we talked a little bit, and you were able to get up and explain a little bit about your book, and you said it was salty, and you said there was a lot about politics and sex in there, and man, I got to tell you, you married the two so well.
Well, up to, I would say, 2016, I was a professor of chemistry in a community college in the Arapaho Community College in Littleton. Up to that time, Paul, poetry was like a hobby. But after spending 9 weeks in the hospital in 2016, fighting for my life, and I ended up with only $1,640 in the bank. So I decided, okay, time to retire. After I retire, I am dedicated to 3 things. First, my wife Laura. Second, poetry, and believe it or not, chess too. Since then, especially in 2019, I have been able to self-publish 3 books of poetry. The Dance of the Phoenix, which is a romantic journey from the death of my wife, Iris, Alvarado. She was from Venezuela. And then after a journey and many acquaintances with different women, I met Laura Wilkie at the Community College of Denver, and we became lovers, and then husband and wife.
Okay.
So the poetry that you see here have 2 roots. One root is my Hispanic root from Dominican Republic. The other root is the United States. So I'm a citizen of 2 countries, and I can't deny either country. Okay? So yes, there are some poems about the American imperialism, but in reality, I love the United States. I don't know if I answer your question or not, but
Sure. Now, there was one poem where you wrote about a dictatorship that was going to come into the Dominican Republic, and you were very emotional about that. And when I read that, it was like, oh, you really put your heart in this poem.
well, what happened, Paul, is that during the dictatorship of General Trujillo, Dominican Republic, which went from 1930 to 1961 when he was assassinated, my family suffered a lot. We had to sell very cheap land, good land, to the dictator when the dictator decided, oh, I think I'm going to need to produce more sugar. So we had to do. The other thing is one of my brothers, that brother Eddie, he actually was part of a conspiracy, and he was tortured in jail and so on. So in some of my poems, I want to make sure that the Dominican people understand that we can never let another dictator come in. Okay?
So how does that impact the way you feel about our former president, and the way that things are going politically in this country? I'm so interested in your perspective because you have a dual citizenship perspective that really gives you, I think, a leg up on many of our issues.
Right. When you say the ex-president, are you referring to Mr. Donald Trump?
Yeah, I don't say his name.
Oh, you don't say his name. I'm so sorry. Well,
Anyway, you can say it.
well, actually, especially you can, with respect to that president, you can debate his good actions or good ideas and so on, but what happened in January 6th just remind me of my country, Dominican Republic.
And how so?
Well, so what you have there is somebody who wants to hold to power in any way he can, And as a matter of fact, in my new book, Roman and Elizabeth book, I have some poems about that guy. Let me see if I can find it.
While you're doing that, I'm going to hold your book up so they can see it.
Oh, okay.
Or your samurai, the samurai poet.
Okay. This is actually from my new book, Romance and Haiku Elixir. And you can see that president. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Okay, I have, in this poem in particular, you have something similar to the haiku, a 3-line poem.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, I say here, referring to that president played golf while coronavirus lurked.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's our savior? Let's see. This man in power sends his pack of raccoons to steal the election.
Mm.
You know who I'm talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and this is actually true. I'm actually Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
and I try every day, I set aside 25 minutes or so to pray the rosary. And believe it or not, I pray for that president to become more human, more compassionate, and so on.
Mm.
And like I say here, I pray the rosary, God, make him compassionate. That will be a miracle.
Mm.
You see? So,
Hey, Ricardo, if somebody wanted to buy one of your books, where would they go?
okay, the way that I can arrange it is they can go to my email, which is very simple, drbogart@gmail.com, and we can arrange it. I can send it to him if he's not in Denver, and so on. The book, it costs about $10. But if I had to send it to somebody, let's say in Colorado Springs and so on, I don't charge the $5 that costs
Shipping.
shipping, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, you guys, I just want to implore you, expand yourself. If you're not much of a reader, poetry is such an easy read, and it's so pleasant to your spirit, and it fills you. And so, please consider one of Ricardo's books, because this samurai poet, worth reading. It was a good read. Like I say, I got up this morning and I think I had 4 poems I hadn't read yet, and I went and I read them all, and it's like, man, I wish I could have really savored these, because I had to go back and read a couple again.
One thing that is very important about my poetry books is that each poem or introduction or whatever, it has the English version and the Spanish version. So it's a nice way to learn Spanish or to learn English.
Yes, that was such a cool thing about this book, is on one page they have the English, on the other page they have the Spanish version of the same poem. So I think that is so cool, just because you're able to really expand your audience, and and like you say, I was reading through some poems, and I don't speak Spanish, but I was trying to read them in Spanish, and of course Dee laughed at me, but that's okay.
No,
hey, I tried,
No.
No, she didn't laugh. I'm teasing, but yeah, I think the idea of being able to read it in Spanish and English is so cool. It just gives the book such a new dimension. I think it broadens it very, very greatly.
And like I told you before, I'm a citizen of 2 countries, and I cannot deny the culture that I have inherited or gotten in Dominican Republic and now in the United States.
I think that's so cool. I had a friend, Franco Arguello, and he was from Veracruz.
Right.
And his wife was a citizen, and he was trying to get his citizenship. And I remember Franco, his loyalty was to America. And yet he was, here waiting for a work visa, and he was here, at that, and this was, more than 10 years ago, but he was here illegally, and so it was very difficult for him to be a contributing citizen, it makes it very hard.
Right. But people have to understand, we Hispanics are not just migrants. We are lawyers, engineers, priests, even policemen.
Yes.
So we are not, sometimes if you read at the press and so on, they want to say, oh my God, all those cartel members and blah, 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 and they forget that we, bring a lot of things to the American culture.
Absolutely, absolutely. Guys, we've gone over our time, and I hate to cut this short. It was a short interview, but I'm glad I was able to read a couple of your poems. And those of you who sat there and listened to my political rant, thank you for listening. I do challenge you to write in, to make a Facebook post, to communicate. If you agree, if you disagree, if you love me, if you hate me, let me know. Guys, you've been watching The Weekend Boost on KUHS The Stream. We have been talking to poet, a PhD, Dominican Republic citizen and United States citizen, Ricardo Bogart Alvarez. He is the author of The Samurai Poet. And guys, I end every show with this, and I'm going to end it with this one. Everybody is looking for a hero. If you can't find one, be one.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
Everybody's looking for a hero. If you can find it, be your.
You got to be the hero. They're looking. They're looking for you.
That is excellent.
Guys, in 2 weeks we will be having Ricardo Laforé, one of the founders of Calma, and I see you have your Calma shirt, the Calma Alliance for Latino Mentors and Authors, and so we're very excited. We're excited to have Mr. Bogart here today. And with that, you guys have a wonderful week. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Let me see if I can get this here.